All right, well, hello, my Next Gen fam. Welcome to another episode of Mentor Moments with Next Gen HQ. We're so excited to have you here today. So make sure you sit back, you take out your notebook, and you wait for all of the momentum that's about to come hit you in the face from this one. We are so thrilled to have Iñaki from StartEngine here with us today. He is the head of partnerships. And if you're wondering what StartEngine is, this is an equity crowdfunding platform that allows everyday people like you and me, basically, to invest and own shares in startups and early stage companies. He is super passionate about connecting people and starting projects, which totally makes sense why he's at StartEngine. So, Iñaki, we are so excited to have you on with us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And I'm excited to share a little bit about myself, our company, and obviously continue to help out any companies from NextGen that we can.
Oh, you're so sweet. But you know what? We're going to dive right into all of that good stuff because we've got a lot of ground to cover. But first, we need to do a little bit of a Next Gen HQ tradition here with some rapid fire questions. So I'm going to throw out some quick questions to you. Whatever first comes to mind is your answer. Are you ready for me?
Ready.
Amazing. What is one book that you'd recommend to others?
The Surrender Experiment by Michael A. Singer.
Oh, I've never heard of that book in my life before.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Amazing.
It's one of those you can read at any time of your life and you always take something different out of it.
And find meaning with it. Oh, so it just follows you through. You have to read it every few years to get the new lessons.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. What is one productivity hack that you have?
Oof. I put all my tasks on my Google Calendar, like events, and I move them over every single day. I know it's a little bit analog, but that way, like I really engrave them into my brain and I know what I have to do. So everything's on my Google Calendar, one spot, one place.
Amazing. I love that. Who is the most influential person in your life?
Most influential person. Man, I have quite a bit.
Oh, that's the sign of a good
I mean,
life.
yeah, I'd have to say both. Like my dad's been massively influential. Now I'm seeing a lot of like the lessons that my parents taught me when I was younger really come up. And actually, these are rapid fires. There you go. That's the answer.
Perfect. I love it. And then how about your favorite animal?
Favorite animal? The manta ray.
The manta ray. Interesting. Yeah. I like it. I never think of sea creatures when that question comes to mind. Amazing. Well, now that we know you a little bit better, just through those quick personal questions, we're going to dive into your story because I love the entrepreneurial journey that you've been on. You started, it seems like, with a passion for entrepreneurship and business in your early years in college, maybe even before then, and have continued that on and kept kind of that path going. But to kick you all the way back in time with your educational background, we did some digging and we saw that there are a couple, in some ways, kind of competing things that took over when you were in school. So economics, environmental studies, and entrepreneurship. How are you able to take all of those passions and figure out how to connect them, or really how to be able to continue moving forward with them in mind?
Yeah, it's actually a question that I still am trying to explore and discover and find out what I'm really meant to do here while I have some time on Earth. So I'm actually in the process still. That's something I think about every day, every week. I'm in the process of finding my own project and honing in on basically everything that I'm interested in is what I studied. So right now, throughout my entire work experience, I've worked in a different aspect of what I've studied at school, but I've yet to kind of find or land at a time in my life where everything I'm interested in is really kind of existing in that single moment as like a job or a profession. So I'm continuing to explore it. I would say that I haven't found it yet. And I think that's kind of like the fun part. And that's why that book that I recommended is great. It's all about, being present and enjoying what you have and kind of accepting the next series of opportunities that come your way as, what life is throwing at you and trusting it. So yeah, right now I'm definitely more on the business side. That's really kind of what I am living every day and practicing, and those are like my connections. And I think about a lot of strategy and BD, but not necessarily on the environmental side. However, it's starting to chime in a little bit here and there with some cool companies like in clean tech and green tech that I have to review and that we get the opportunity to support on our platform. So it's starting to kind of creep in as well, that kind of like environmental side of what I really like.
I love that. I love that mentality that you have about it. It's just a process, right? And that is life. Not
Yeah,
everything is always going to be the perfect timing. Not everything is always going to align, but you're going to find these threads and be able to capture them until the next kind of thing comes along that will continue to push you forward.
exactly. Yeah, it's just a mindset you have to be in, really.
Absolutely. I love that. So you mentioned that you're working and you see a lot of cool companies, and I've never even heard of clean tech before. So thanks for adding that knowledge to my life. But I'd love to hear a little bit more about your work with StartEngine as the head of partnerships. How did you find yourself working at this company in this role? Kind of what was your story for landing where you are now?
Yeah, the story is so I went to school here in LA. That's where I am currently. And the grad school program I did, we kind of dissected the local tech environment. And that was really kind of my first eye-opening moment to the tech world and the various awesome startups that lived in our, here in Silicon Beach, as they say. So I started off my career in tech, and as a lot of tech people will tell you, it's kind of its own world, and you go from one tech company to another, and you get recruited, you get invited to be a part of a team, you get, you research companies that you like, and then you go to them. So you kind of tend to stay in tech sometimes versus going a more conventional route, like working at a larger marketing agency or working for a client like a Procter and Gamble or something of that type. So yeah, I started off in tech and I stayed in tech. There's just so many cool companies in tech that run the gamut, that every time I've had that next opportunity to go somewhere else, it seemed like very exciting. And that's definitely the story with StartEngine. I actually came back from a long trip I did in Asia. I did a long motorcycle trip. We covered 1,700 kilometers from southern Vietnam to the border with China. It was amazing. Traveled around Thailand and Indonesia for a bit, kind of just trying to disconnect from my previous kind of like tech years. Came back, landed at an awesome, really awesome tech company. The pandemic hits. I got laid off along with all the new hires for the company. And it was actually a great opportunity because it landed me where I am right now. Once when one event led to the other, and that's how I ended up at StartEngine. Really, I just kind of said, I surrendered. Kind of like what the story says, not to be too corny, but yeah, that opportunity. I had known about StartEngine. One of the founders was a frequent speaker at our grad school, and I had it on my radar. And when I saw the opportunity, it really blended everything I wanted to do. I was trying to make the move over to partnerships for a while, and so I had been doing partnerships for a bit and BD, business development. And finally, when I saw this position to support companies with fundraising, but at the same time, kind of be the face of the company for partnerships, I said, this is incredible. Let's definitely try this opportunity out.
Okay, so you brought up something there that we cannot move away from until I hear a little bit more about this. A very long trip over in Asia on a motorcycle. Tell me a little bit about that, because it seems like you hinted at it right there. You're so in this world of tech. I can imagine LA is kind of saturated with that as well as and that hustle and bustle kind of mentality. So did something just kind of call you to say, "Hey, I need to disconnect. I need to take a second here"?
Yes, I basically had been slightly kind of burnt out a little bit from just school and then nonstop work, just like all of us. But also the job I was previously in was a lot of travel, a lot of like international travel and just nonstop kind of like going, going, going. And it was amazing. Probably one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. But because of that, I just kind of took a moment. We had just wrapped up like a big project. And I said to myself, this is a good moment to be open to anything else. I also, at the time, I should mention, hosted kind of like a music and innovation festival down in Mexico at my family's property. So I took a little bit of extra time at the end of that tech company to just fully focus on it for like 2 months, make sure production, make sure the music and all the good stuff that was going to happen was set up properly. And once that was done, I said my goodbyes a week after that event and just kind of left for Asia to just, kind of give myself some distance, some mental distance, and some perspective as to what I really wanted to do. And that's actually on that trip is where I landed that connecting with people and partnerships is what I wanted to do. So when I came back, I started my kind of really focused role in partnerships, which I think is not it's starting to become a more popular kind of role or uh, I guess path for many companies. I'm starting to see more and more people that have or companies that have someone that represents partnerships in some capacity, but it wasn't too obvious at first. And that trip really opened my eyes. Of course, talking to friends on the trip that told me, hey, you would be great at someone that just deals externally. And yeah, that's how it happened.
I love that. I think so many people can also share in that experience where they're just working so much that all the hours are blurring together. They're almost on that edge of burnout. And then when they take a second to step away from it and to breathe, more opportunities actually end up coming up, right? Whether that's kind of professionally, a new job comes along, or personally just saying, maybe I don't like this, or maybe I do want to explore something else. It's crazy what just getting that mental space and breather can really do for someone.
It does wonders. And the funny thing is that it doesn't, you don't need to go too far and too remote to really figure it out. You just need to give yourself a little bit of time every day to stop,
Mm.
being like, nonstop and just like listen to yourself really and ask yourself. It's a process too. It doesn't come in one day or in 1 week. It comes from months of hitting your head against the wall and knowing what you like and what you don't like about a certain, type of industry and job and lifestyle. And then focusing on the parts you do like and thinking and talking to friends about, hey, where can I find more of this? I love this flavor, this smell of like life. What do you think? Where can I find this? And then, it's part of the process. You need to like R&D and self-discover a little bit.
The flavor and smell of life. I love that. And Yaki, I know you need to go ahead and pop on out. So we're going to wrap this up with one more question for you, maybe even tied to something we've been talking about here. But if you had to share one message with the next generation of leaders, of entrepreneurs, of change makers, who are going to be watching this video, by the way, what would that message be to them?
I would say that, first of all, the first part of the message is we're all in this together, everything that's going on right now. And because of that, I think people are very receptive to innovation and anything that can improve our lives. I think that's always been the case, but I think more than ever, our our consumers, users, if you're an app, customers, anybody and everybody is open and they should be to innovation. So if you're a founder and you have a company and you're working on technology, now's when to double down. Now's when to be really proud of what you're doing and, bring it in front of a lot of people, from people that help you fundraise like myself to newsletters that might have amazing customers for you. This is a great time. We all appreciate what you guys are doing, especially those that are in the healthcare and clean tech, green tech kind of spaces, really trying to take this kind of like global alarm and try to make this place a little bit better, like now, ASAP, because we don't, want to go through another one of these, and we still aren't out of this one. So to all those founders out there, to say, if there's any way that I can help you, obviously the most foremost thing is fundraising. Please reach out. That's what we're here for. Let us do our part in supporting you guys with what you're doing.
I love that. You heard it right here, y'all. Now is the time. So run out, go bring your ideas to life, go help make the world a better place. And Iñaki, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. We so appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys for the time and for the energy. It was nice to maybe share a little bit about my more personal side. But always happy to do, a deeper dive on fundraising if that's what you guys would like. And thank you so much, Rachel and Jenna, if you're still on there somewhere.
Absolutely. And if someone was curious to get in touch with you / StartEngine, is there a best method of communication there?
Yeah, and first of all, let me say the Next Gen team is awesome. My first contact there was Mal, and
Wow.
he helped set this all up with you guys. So great kind of team and community here. And if somebody wanted to get in contact with me, I'm always very personal and open. So you can email my direct StartEngine email, which is Inaki, Iñaki, my first name, at startengine.com. And maybe you guys could maybe include that email if you guys wanted to. More than fine having that published somewhere.
We absolutely will. Thank you so much. And Next Gen fam, thanks for listening. We'll see you another week.